dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Hello and welcome back to Liberty Nation Radio, head coast to coast on the Radio America Network. I remain your host, Mark Angelides, and we're joined today in this post-Christmas session by Mr. Tim Donner, Liberty Nation's senior political analyst and longtime host of this here radio show. Merry Christmas to you, Tim. Thanks for being here.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Kwanzaa, happy New Year, happy Hanukkah. I think we've got them all in, don't
You've
we?
missed Festivus.
Festivus. Well, that's sort of isn't that a composite of all of them?
Which it is, yeah. They're all costing dollars. But yes, it is actually a composite of all the money that's been spent throughout the year. And I want to look at how we have expended some of those, our children's hard-earned inheritance over the last year. And one of those methods is the movies. People going to the movies. Now, Christmas time it's a great time for Christmas movies, of course. Although, in my opinion, there hasn't been a good Christmas movie made in the last 15 years. This winter, I watched Stalag 17, which is a superb movie. It's not necessarily a Christmas one, but it is Christmas based, and it's very funny. It's 1955, I think it was. And it's a superb movie. But Tim, specifically, let's dig down into the details here. And on the more important occasion than Christmas was a recent anniversary for you and your good lady wife, Lisa K. Donner, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And you decided to go to a Cinebistro, which I think is perhaps a wonderful idea. For those of our listeners who aren't familiar with it, this is not an advert for them, by the way, but I'm always fascinated by it. So what happens at a Cinebistro, Tim?
Well, I think this is, frankly, the future of movie theaters, because especially with Netflix now buying up Warner Brothers, there's a question as to whether Netflix will take all the classic Warner Brother properties and just limit them to streaming. And also you take one of the 5 major studios, Hollywood studios, out of play.
Yeah.
And so
that's 20% of your summer blockbusters disappeared. Yeah.
It's true. If you still want to call them blockbusters, but that's a separate discussion.
Sure.
What Cinebistro does, and there are other entries into this class of movie theaters, is you don't just show up, buy some popcorn, sit and watch a movie. What you do is you get there and you are treated to a sumptuous leather reclining seat. And you then order drinks and gourmet dinner. I mean, in other words, the thing that's amazing about the Cinebistro experience, and I've been to another one like it, is that it's not just, hamburgers and French fries and stuff. There's gourmet food, excellent meats and pasta and stuff like this. And so it's a full experience. You recline, you watch like it's in the comfort of your home, but you're being served dinner and drinks.
Let's clear.
We're at a restaurant. Yeah.
Let's clear up the really important point. When you say drinks, you're talking a licensed premises here, right?
We're talking a licensed premises.
How else could it seriously expect my customer?
Well, I don't think it would succeed if they didn't.
Sure.
Offer it.
Who wants a Coke with their steak? So Tim, right. So the big question here is the future of the movie industry. So we know that people do still go to the movies for really big, spectacular things. Like, for example, there was the Top Gun Maverick. I think that was 2024 rather than 2025. People went to see it in their droves. It was very popular. So people still do that. But I think the reason that cinema outlets, like the ones we've just been talking about, have to change is because the movies just aren't that appealing anymore. They're either so obsessed with the message that they're putting out, or and this is my personal pet hate, is the colorblind casting, as they call it in historical period movies or shows.
The proper term, Mark, is diversity casting.
In the UK, they call it colorblind.
Sorry to correct you, but
let's delve into that briefly. So colorblind casting. What it essentially means in practice is you've got a story of, let's say, 1066, the Battle of Hastings, and there's a number of the real historical people who are now not white. They're some other particular ethnicity, and the argument for it is, well, we used a colorblind casting technique, as in the best actor got the role, and I'm actually all for that, but it's strange that it never happens to go the other way. You know, we're not going to see a Shaka Zulu movie with Brad Pitt in the starring role. It's never going to happen, and we know it's never going to happen. So it reminds me of that saying about the USSR, or was it East Germany? And it was they're lying.
Not much of a difference there.
Yeah, they're lying to us. We know they're lying to us. They know that we know that they're lying to us, and on and on. And so I think, I mean, that's just one aspect, but the overall, the stories that are coming out now, they seem to me to be almost pitifully weak and obsessed with messaging and social justice, rather than actually trying to tell a good story. And Tim, I cannot say enough how much I appreciate a good story. I think stories are everything that has made the world what it is today, because it's stories passed down mouth to ear for millennia in some cases. And these are good stories, and they're sacrificing the story for the message. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that is probably starting to change, if not because strictly of the change of administration, the change of tenor in the country, the post-progressive era, the woke mind virus starting to diminish over time. But I think that it's a very hard habit for them to break, because for some reason, Hollywood still feels like it's their job to preach to us what we should believe, rather than providing us what we want to see. Look, people go to the movies or they watch them at home to escape. It's just that simple. Whether you escape with a sci-fi, with an action film, a romantic comedy, a rom-com, or no, whatever it is, there's a certain guard that goes up the moment you see some sort of politically correct move or action, and then you become suspicious of the whole rest of the movie. Sure. Because there's a message behind it instead of just telling the story. So what my wife Lisa and I have done for the better part of 40 years that we've been married is, the moment we see evidence of a woke message, we turn it off immediately because you then lose confidence and you wind up saying, you're on edge, saying, what are they going to preach to us next?
Yeah.
What's the next? What's the next virtue signaling?
Laura and I do the same. Yeah, we do the same with TV shows. We'll start watching something with hope. It's there's a saying in the UK. People welcome the Labour Party with hope and the Conservatives with relief. But we welcome like a new TV show or something with a bit of hope. Like, this could be quite good, and the build-up's been great. And we don't watch a lot. We have young children, so we're not we don't get a lot of time for the screen. But as soon as something happens, we're like, let's turn it off. Let's not go into it, because that the show has lost, or the movie has lost authenticity, because the things that are politically correct, as I think it was Lenin who said, or Stalin, it doesn't mean it's correct, but it's politically correct. And so they lose this authenticity, and for that they lose the trust. And speaking of the USSR,
the point is, to those movies, don't do well.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
the
really don't.
release of the Snow White movie, I forget whether it's 24, 25.
Yeah.
And it was just replete with, uh, symbols and characters who just weren't true at all to the original Snow White story because they're trying to send a message. And, the dangerous part of it, really, Mark, with most of these movies and TV shows, is that they lead you on. They make you think that it's just a straight drama or a crime story, whatever it is. You dig into it, you get 20, 30, 40 minutes into it, and then all of a sudden they hit you with the virtue signaling. And, you feel used and abused. And I think this is not just me. This is most everyone I talk to, most of whom, honestly, Mark, haven't even been to the movies in years because they just pretty much gave up.
Yeah.
And now what you see in the theaters are mostly sci-fi, animated movies, superheroes, stuff like this that really has a very limited appeal.
Sure.
But I guess Hollywood doesn't mind losing money because they certainly do on most of these politically correct movies, and yet they persist.
Yeah, well, thank you, Hillary Clinton. And yet she persisted. We'll finish on this one note that I'm sure will ruin your new year, Tim. The classic novella by George Orwell, Animal Farm, which is a damning indictment of the communist push and how these dreams of equality are really nothing more than pigs with their snouts in the trough. There's been a remake of the animated version of it that came out a little while back. Well,
right, it was called The Animal House, right?
No, okay.
I'm confused.
But it does have Seth Rogen in it as Napoleon, the pig, which is an odd choice. But from everything I gather so far of this, what they've done is they've removed all of the this is why communism is bad, and this is what it leads to, and they've turned it into a filthy rich white oligarch is trying to take over the animal farm for his own fiscal gains. It's completely stripped the message out. And coming back to the idea of why stories are so important, Tim, a generation of kids now, when they think Animal Farm, they'll think of this new version, this 2025 version of Animal Farm that has lost its entire purpose and meaning. And they won't be able to learn the lessons in the same way that you and I learned them from either seeing the original animated version.
Well, what's the purpose? What is the purpose of the Animal Farm, if not to unmask the evils of communism?
Yeah.
So that's the whole story.
Yeah.
So if you take you rip out the heart of the story, there's no story left. So who would ever want to go and see that except, basically progressives who like being fed stuff that, agrees with their twisted worldview of white supremacy, white privilege.
And the evils of capitalism, of course.
The evils of capitalism, exactly.
We are going to be back with Tim Donner after this short break discussing the scorecard for 2025. Don't go anywhere.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.